It's a lovely day here. Look at the sun in the background. It's great stuff, and we're having a nice lunch and talking about the Football League Ante-Post. Mark had like Winnie, and now we're talking about League One. And just look at the odds here. Coral best price on every single team at the moment, so big respect to them.
Yeah.
Sheffield United favourites, Mark, 11-2. Awful first half of the season. Nigel Clough came in. Great second half season, almost like they might squeak out the playoffs at one point, and they got to Wembley at the FA Cup semi-finals, but they're 2.5 points shorter than anyone else at the moment. Is that right?
No, it shouldn't. Of course they're going to be up there in the shake-up. I think you look at the League One, there's three big teams that you look towards: Sheffield United, Bristol City, Preston. I'm sure we'll cover the two of them in a minute, but Sheffield United a bit too short for me. Won 1 of 10 before David Weir was dismissed. Ended the season with only 5 defeats from mid-November, 12 wins from 17. You know, if the average points per game Clough picked up was 1.75 over 33 games, it would be 80 points. Solid form there. Wolves the only favourites in the last 19 seasons to win the league. That counts against them, but promotion favourites have been promoted in 5 of the last 7 seasons. So there is green shoots. They don't deserve to be that short a price. They've made some decent signings, but defensively, that really stout defence has lost players. Harry Maguire's gone to Hull, Connor Cody, John Brayford. They've all gone back to the parent company. So there's voids to fill. I thought there was a void to fill up front as well, but Michael Higden's been signed this week. I think he'll be an excellent signing for them. Still a little bit short. Interesting players, but they're going to be in the shake-up, no doubt, but not at 11 to 2.
No, a lot of parallels with Bristol City in terms of the fact that they had a good second half of the season. They've got a manager who's managed at a higher level, in Steve Cotterill. 8-1 Bristol City, second favourites in the betting. You tempted by the 8-1?
I was actually slightly. Finished the season very well. 2 defeats in 17. Were available at 14-1 in early June though, so the value has well and truly gone on Bristol City. Cotterill seemed to get the best out of the team when he took over and changed the formation. Made it all around Sam Baldock, who scored plenty of goals and of course finished top goal scorer in the league. His partnership with J. Emmanuel Thomas is obviously crucial, but so is his future. He could easily leave before the end of the transfer window or in January. Some very, very good signings though. Corey Smith, Oldham captain, Mark Little from Peterborough, Luke Freeman, outstanding player from Stevenage, Wade Elliott signed permanently. There's bags and bags of talent there, and they'll go coastal as well. I prefer them than Sheffield United, the quotes anyway. Sure,
one team that have been chipping at the green and just not quite getting the hole in recent years is Preston North End, of course, under the tutelage of Simon Grayson, a good manager. We both agree with that. Preston, there or thereabouts the last few years, 17-2 to win this year. I think you're keen on Preston.
Yeah, I am definitely. You know, I looked at the average price of the League One winner in the last 7 years, because if you go back 10 years, it's skewed by a few massive outsiders. Preston 9-1 fit the bill. It's 9-1 or 17-2, whatever you want to go. Lost 5 of their final 35 games. They don't lose matches under Simon Grayson, manager who knows what's required to get out of the division. He knows. I really rate him. They opened up towards the end of the season as well, scoring a bag full of goals. Joe Garner's still there. Looks like he probably will stay. Carl Reed's joined, a lively winger. Andy Little's joined from Rangers. They've strengthened the team, which is already good enough to probably win the league on most years. Last season was a
very tough year.
Yeah, very tough year. They won't be looking for the playoffs. They've had 9 appearances in the playoffs and never been promoted. They'll be looking at that top 2, and I think they're more than capable of going the distance this time.
I think Leyton Orient are underrated in the league this year. This is a side who were top of the table for the first half of the campaign, lost in a penalty shootout back in May. And just because of their name, really, the fact that we associate them with a third and fourth tier side, they always seem to have a bit of value for me, Mark. 11-1 here, despite their fantastic season last year. Am I barking up the wrong tree?
No, not at all. I like Orient as I did last season, but they've strengthened, really strengthened. A big summer of change. Barry Hearn's moved on. The chairman, in comes a new chairman, Francesco Fischetti, who's apparently worth absolute fortunes. Yeah. And you can see that in their transfer business. Okay, Odebajo's moved on for a club record fee, but look at the players who've come in. Joby McAnuff turned down Nottingham Forest to join. Shane Larry from Millwall, Darius Henderson, Jay Simpson. They've already kept Mooney, Lisby, Cox, the good things of last season. In 3 of the last 5 seasons, the losing playoff finalist. 1 promotion the year after. If they can get over that playoff hangover, they're going to be there or thereabouts. A lot to recapture from last season. Of course, they started out absolutely outstandingly, but if they do again this year, then they'll go the whole way. Yeah,
definitely. So let's look at teams who can maybe sneak into the promotion places come May of next year. You look at Peterborough next in the betting at 12-1. Barnsley, of course, come down for the championship at 16. MK Dons always kind of in the top 10, but never any further. Donny, Yeovil, who came down for the championship. I'll stop talking to you. You start telling me big price sides who could get into the mix here.
I'll try and cover them really quickly. MK Dons, Carl Robinson, useless manager, idiot, regressing by 10 points every season to the last 3 seasons. But Patrick Bamford scored 17 before January, and without his goals, they could have even been worse last season. But some very good signings over the summer. This really is now or never from MK Dons. Peterborough, fans' opinions seem to be completely mixed there. I'm not certain that things are right. They have the potential to fire and go bananas in this league, but probably not. Barnsley, I don't fancy them. They've had 3 very weak teams came down, too much change. They've still got some good players. I like Bradford. I think Bradford will go quite well. I think they're top half. I think they've been underrated in the markets. Doncaster we mentioned. I'll come to them in a minute, but no, definitely not. Gillingham for me are one that's been sort of ruled out a little bit. And I think I can't remember the price, but them for a top half finish is around 11-4. I think.
Wow, that's a good price.
Peter Taylor did a very good job when he came in, surprisingly, because I like Martin Allen. On 13 of 35 games in charge. Bit of a poor end to the season, but brought some interesting signings. Luke Norris, John Egan, Jermaine McGlashan. If Cody McDonald scores goals alongside Tanny Ketwell as well, they could be there and thereabouts in the top 7. So
yeah, I like the sound of that. Relegation. Who takes a drop to the 3rd tier and the 4th tier? The odds, the betting market is stacked up with unfashionable, unsexy sides. Crewe, Colchester, Port Vale, Gillingham, Rochdale. How unsexy can you get, Rochdale? Keith Hill, of course, in charge there. Not a man you associate with sexiness by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. Not a sexy guy though. But anyway, give us some solid bets for relegation.
Crewe will go down. They've lost their main creative force and the strikers from last season. Chuck Sanike, Max Clayton's going, Paul Pogba's brother Matthias has left now as well, so they're going to go down. They're going to field the kids. They're not very sexy at 8-5, are they? So how about Crawley at 4-1? John Gregory's pretty much shipped out everyone from the club and starting from afresh. They only scored 48 goals last season, which is obviously a concern. The key players they brought in, apparently, are Dean Leacock, Jimmy Smith, and Ozan McLeod. Not really any key players anywhere else in that league anymore. I'm afraid. Over 15 new players, massive rebuilding job there for them. 4-1 to go down seems too big. A few of those unfashionable clubs are probably too short. But I'm really liking. I need to stress this because some people seem to not understand what I say. But backing Doncaster at 16 for relegation doesn't necessarily mean I think they're going to go down. But they're too big a price here at 16-1. Last day heartache, but they only picked up 1 point from 21. Paul Deckel's an idiot, rubbish manager. The takeover didn't go through. John Ryan and Louis Tomlinson from One Direction left him working with a budget reduced from up to 80%, judging by some reports. They've still got some good players, but they struggled for goals last season. Their top scorer, Chris Brown's gone, Billy Painter's gone, Billy Sharp-Sloan's gone, Mark Duffy, David Cottrell, they've all gone. Theo Robinson and Nathan Tyson could strike up a decent partnership up front, but if they don't, really in trouble. And I think their odds against to finish in the bottom half, which I'm all over as well.
Nice one. Your best League One bets?
Doncaster 16-1 to relegation, Preston 9-1 to win the league, and if you like a shorty, MK Dons at 4-6 to finish in the top half looks absolutely nailed on to me.
Doncaster 16-1 to get relegated. He's keen.